Welcome to another edition of the Nightly Nugent. Ted, like I told you last night, I'm having deja vu. You remember what went on over there at Kabul when they were trying to evacuate Americans and they left American soldiers who were killed? Trillions and bazillions and infinity amount of equipment worth a lot of money that went into the hands of the Taliban. Here we are again. The conflict in Sudan apparently escalated at a level the Biden administration could not anticipate. So they've evacuated our embassy personnel, which is great. But what they left over there, Ted, 16,000 Americans are registered in Sudan that are at risk right now. I mean, using one of your song titles, cluster crank, I guess, for the sake of it. I'll leave that to you. But Ted, I mean, this is a recurrent theme with the Biden administration. 2 points. One, why is the world burning around us when it didn't happen under President Trump? And number two, shouldn't our military leaders, shouldn't our Department of Defense, our Joint Chief of Staffs have intel enough to start evacuating or defending in a more timely manner? What's your take on Sudan?
Well, number one, I was in the Sudan in 1978, and I barely got out with my life as the terrorists were blowing up the Khartoum airport and killing everybody. And the Dinka tribe escorted me out as we ran miles and miles and miles, day after day, to escape the terrorists. And the Dinkas fell in love with me because I was shooting big game with my trusty bow and arrow. So we had a blood brother spirit of the wild bond, shall we say. So I was there from Khartoum, the capital that is now under siege by more terrorists, in infighting, which is the specialty of those African tribes. And I made my way to Juba and Capoeira to commandeer a Red Cross plane to get me to Cairo. Barely got out. What a story. I'll be elaborating on.
Well, that sounds like Indiana Jones stuff, Ted. That ought to be the subject of an entire weekend edition.
And I'm going to elaborate on the Ted Nugent Real America's Voice Spirit Campfire. Please join me on Real America's Voice. I think it's Real America's Voice News.com. But anyhow, I have a spirit campfire where I do elaborate. It's quite an adventure. I can't believe I survived that terrorist insurrection. It was a real insurrection because it included bombs and grenades and AK-47s.
Well, now we have 16,000 Americans in your plight. And of course, you're Ted Nugent, and you had the trust of that tribe over there to get you out.
Yep.
We've got 16,000 Americans over there that are fending for themselves. What in the world is going to happen? And do you fear for them?
I certainly do fear for them because it's total chaos, totally out of control over there in those African countries because nothing but terrorists run those. Just like the Mexican government is a terrorist organization, the Mexican military is a terrorist organization, the Mexican police is a terrorist organization. But more heartbreaking than all of that, Keith, is that this Austin dude thinks he's in charge of defending America, that General Mark Milley, this boyfriend of Michael Moore, this drag queen Joint Chiefs of Staff that can't do a push-up, is supposed to be the representative of defending America. They are embarrassing. They are anti-American. The communist Chinese love Austin and Milley because they are making sure that we are not defended. You cannot trust Uncle Sam. And I got to tell you, every time I say this, Keith, my heart palpitates. I want to love my country. I love my original experiment in self-government where we, the people, would determine our destiny and have God, family, country, Constitution, Bill of Rights, goodwill, decency, good over evil, law and order was the hallmark of that shining city on the hill, the greatest quality of life in the history of the world. Here it is, 2023. The commander-in-chief is a joke. The commander-in-chief is an embarrassing zombie. The Democrat Party is a child sex trafficking, money laundering gangster operation. General Mark Milley is anti-defense. Lloyd Austin is anti-defense. Merrick Garland is anti-law and order. Christopher Wray is anti-law and order. The people in charge of our government right now are glaringly anti-American. And as they turn their back on Americans in Afghanistan, as they turn their back on Americans in Benghazi, as our government turns its back on Americans in the Sudan and around the world, I get calls and I get email all the time from friends in Japan and Ireland and Denmark and in Norway and Germany and France and Spain. And they go, Ted, what the hell happened to America? Who is this freak zombie who thinks he's your president, that every move our government makes destroys the American dream incrementally, lick for lick, step by step? And the Sudan cluster is a perfect example how Uncle Sam sides with freaks in Ukraine and sides against the American people. It is a tragic time, but once again, the nightly news isn't about squawking about the barn on fire. The nightly news is about we the people organizing ourselves at hunternation.org. Hunternation.org. A simple little representation of the conservative families of America. Please come to hunternation.org. You can also visit us at huntthevote.org. We need to take back this country because right now America is in the hands of the devil. So America, we the people, stand up and raise hell. We cannot let this continue.
Powerful. Well, tomorrow night, Ted, I want to talk about a topic that, it's a recurrent theme. We haven't talked about this issue in the past because it's brand new. But for years, Ted, you've talked about that right now, our government is rewarding lawlessness by allowing criminals to come out. And actually, you coined the phrase engineered recidivism. Our government has actually encouraged drug usage by allowing the border to be open and allowing drugs to pour over the border. But now Joe Biden, with a new rule he's instituted, is punishing people who have good credit and rewarding those that do not. I want to talk about that tomorrow. But before we go, Ted, give us something special that people can find at tednugent.com.
I was up all night signing these, Keith. If there is an answer to the embarrassment in America, I'll cover up the important syllables there. But this hat, I've signed these by the thousand. You can get them right now at tednugent.com. And when people wear this hat, the enemies of America cringe because it proves that we care and we want to make America great, strong, and safe again. Go to tednugent.com and you can get this, shall we say, it's a cap of love.
And who are you trying to get elected with that hat, Ted?
Donald Trump made me the happiest American for 4 years, where everything he did, well, everything except the bump stock ban, which was just foolish, everything except listening to Fauci for far too long. But other than that, every policy Donald Trump implemented made America strong, safe, great, and dominant. And that's what freedom is supposed to be, not the current embarrassment. So, my friends, you can go to tednugent.com. I've been up all night signing these things. I signed a couple thousand of these, but this is really the battle cry. When you are told to do something you know is wrong, you must not comply. Right here on the Nightly News.
See you tomorrow, Ted.